It has been said that a brain is a terrible thing to waste. And while this slogan began as a method to draw attention to millions of African American youth who were not on the path to a higher education, the message itself took a broader meaning and reached beyond the intended audience that it had intended. What then, one may ask, made this slogan one of the most recognizable slogans in American history? It was the simple appeal to the brain. Yes, that's right, the brain. The brain is a powerful weapon for every human being born with a healthy brain. Beginning with the ninth week after conception, the brain begins to grow. And this is the moment the brain begins to grow rapidly. Can you imagine that upon a baby's birth, a baby can see, hear, smell, and respond to touch? What an amazing wonder or miracle, as some would say. It is at this point of growth in the brain where one can see that babies do have the capacity to develop and maintain some areas related to learning. That parents are able to recognize that, hey, my little baby has a brain. And then something miraculous occurs. As the child turns 12, the brain begins to form and shape itself. This is the most important time for a teenage brain. It is during the teenage years that the brain most dramatic growth spurt occurs. Teens suddenly gain new thinking skills. The teen brain increases in brain matter. This is when the brain begins to connect and gain the ability to process. Most parents would agree that once their child became a teenager, it was as if suddenly they knew everything. I mean, how many of you have ever been a teenager and you thought to yourself, my parents don't know what they're talking about. I know what I'm doing. And that can be scary. From a baby to teenage years to an adult years, the brain is the most important organ in the human body. Let's take a look at the human brain. And now I will show you an example of the human brain. As you can see, I have a model of a human brain in front of me. So let's get right into it. This is considered the left hemisphere of the brain. This is the right hemisphere of the brain. And in the middle, extending down to the back, is the cerebral cortex of the brain. Behind the cerebral cortex on the lower part of the brain is the hippocampus. In front of the hippocampus is the thalamus. And below the thalamus is also something called amygdala, which is linked to emotions. And the hippocampus is linked to memory. This is a great example of an adult brain. I also have examples of the connections that are formed from infancy to 15 months. At birth, as you can see, the infant's brain has a few passageways and a few connections. At 3 months, the infant has more connections and more passageways. It is beginning to rapidly increase in capacity and plasticity. And at a dropping 15 months, now it is full of brain connections and pathways. Thank you.